Could a new penny sales tax permanently boost public education funding? House and Senate leaders at opposite extremes over new revenue from gambling, and AG McCollum and CFO Sink take off the gloves about a PSA regarding cybercrime. All of that on Power Play this week with our guests, the bureau chiefs, Mary Ellen Klas of the Miami Herald and Aaron DeLotte of the Orlando Sentinel. So a proposal for a penny sales tax to fund public education. Who's behind it? Who's against it? And could it pass?
It was an idea that's been concocted by even some of the more conservative members of the Senate. And it is one of those things that, why not ask voters if they want to see their schools get better, let them raise the sales tax a penny. The House was totally taken off guard by it, and it'll be fascinating. I think it may have a hard time for them to turn it down. On the other hand, it's not going to do anything for the immediate need because it would have to be on the ballot.
But there'd be a huge lobby pushing for this, including the teachers union probably leading the charge.
There would, and it's hard to find who would be the organized opposition. I mean, there are a lot of anti-tax groups out there that could step up, and you would expect some, the business lobby perhaps, but there's a lot of appeal in this amendment as well, which is essentially a truth in class size amendment if it were to make it on the ballot, forcing voters to recognize that this amendment they passed comes with billions of dollars in cost, even as enrollment's falling.
Well, and as we talk about money, the big churning issue all session long is, will there be revenue from gambling, new gambling, and the House and Senate about as far apart as you could imagine?
That's true. It doesn't look like this is an argument that's going to get settled, at least in the next 45 days or so. This is there's a lot of room to meet in the middle between what the House is going to roll out and what the Senate has proposed, but without some of the drivers in the House who were more favorable towards gaming expansion right now, it looks like they're moving in the opposite direction.
The Senate proposal, what would that do?
The Senate proposal would give the Indians full casinos, everything from roulette wheels and craps to blackjack and slots, but then it would also give all the pari-mutuels around the state additional gaming options. The ones in South Florida would get blackjack, all the other horse and dog tracks around the state would get a lesser form of slot machines, which is sort of this electronic bingo style game.
Are the two chambers likely to meet somewhere in the middle?
I think that the Senate's strategy is, we are building our budget with this money, and you guys try and take it out. You find a way. You deal with the heartbreak that will happen if you don't put some of this money in. So they're going to force them to say, we got to find some money. All
right. The biggest political battle, though, this past week has been the slugfest back and forth between Attorney General McCollum and CFO Sink over a PSA about cybercrime. Who's winning the slugfest?
Well, you'd have to go with the person who's paying millions of dollars to put his face on television across the state, and that would be Bill McCollum. There's been obviously a lot of criticism that's come out in the print media, but as was noted today, the $1 million TV buy outweighs generally the negative headlines that can be generated by a smelly, deal.
And part of the controversy is no competitive bidding. It's given to an out-of-state firm that did his political spots. But are we looking at a possible lineup for the governor's race next year if Charlie Crist runs for the U.S. Senate?
I think that's what's exactly at play here. Alex Sink has, tried to hold off even giving McCollum the money, allowing him to spend this money because she's saying it's blatant self-promotion. She's been really critical, and so it's quite clear that she's already starting the volley in the fight for governor.
But he's getting the gross rating points compared to newspaper stories that might be critical in their tone. All right, let's go to your respective power plays of the week. Aaron.
I've got to go with Senate Ways and Means Chairman J.D. Alexander. He confiscated the governor's rose-colored glasses this week, and he thumbed his nose to the House by saying, we're going to put up every tax you can imagine to try and balance this budget.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the Senate Regulated Industries Chairman Dennis Jones, who set the bar very high on the gambling compromise and loaded up a bill that gave everything to everybody, and that will make it hard for the House to resist going any lower than where it wants to be.
All right, Mary Ellen Klas, Aaron DeLotte, thank you very much. We're almost halfway through the legislative session, and everything is still unresolved. For the latest political news, go to the Safety Review, and we'll see you next time on Power Play.